How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop, and you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation. So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I'm your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the shiny gold mask man. Here's Dr. Ocho!
What is so mythical about me if I'm literally right here and in the flesh, a lot of it because of these peaks? And what are we? Let's not a do anymore. Let's a don't. Let's get this going.
Also joining us is the third man of the team. He is the man with the name on the marquee. He is number 07 in the program, but number 1 in your hearts. It is the sexiest man in the world, Johnny Petraglia Jr. What up, JP?
What's good? What's good, boys? I can't help it. Every time I watch our opening, you know when you watch something like something else, and you're just like, that's so ridiculous or so stupid, or you make fun of it. When I watch our opening, every time I see that one clip of the bowling shot going down the lane,
it's awful.
Like part of my soul wants to believe it was your youngest daughter.
Yeah, with bumpers.
Or either of you, like it was their first strike they ever threw. But I'm like, I can't imagine. We have to change that out.
I said that months ago. I'm like, this is you took the worst strike in history.
Or can we at least get Rad Rob throwing a strike shot or something?
Or just speed it up to times 100. That's all.
Like if you want to strike for me, you're gonna be waiting for a while. But I keep it in there because it's so bad. It's like the running joke. Like that's the only reason why I keep it in there. No, because it pops me.
I crack a laugh every time I see it. So yeah, that's perfect.
We got lots of people in the house.
Everybody, by the way, not just me. So I guess we're sharing the wealth tonight.
All right, let's stop screwing around. We have a very special guest. He is a multi-time champion on the PBA Tour, almost eligible for the Hall of Fame at 28 years old. That's incredible.
It's bullshit. Damn it! How did he do that?
Because he's just that damn good.
By the way, your name is fitting today, JP. All right, bring him in.
Yes, thank you.
Here is the one and only, my favorite left-handed bowler, PBA champion Jakob Butturff. What's up, Jacob? Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, what's up? I mean, when we were talking about the ugliest things ever seen, you guys should see the way I bowl for the first time. So there you go. There's your.
We got a new opening.
I love it. That's fantastic. We are so happy to have you here, Jacob. I know you're coming off a tough loss at the Players, but you're still having a tremendous year. What do you attribute all of your success for this year?
Where do I start? I mean, this was a season that it was like a roller coaster. I mean, I never knew when I was going to take a dive, and I never knew when I was going up. So I think that the way I can finish it off, it was the best dive of the season, and regardless of the loss. I'm thankful for all the people that have supported me. JP being in there, him and I have always been good friends, and just all the support from friends and family. I had a lot of friends come out for shows towards the end of the season, so that was just something that I can't ever forget. It was super, super special to me.
I mean, you were really, really consistent towards the back half of the year and really just started going fire. And with all the competition this year, especially Simo bowling the way he is and EJ just absolutely just bowling unconscious. What's it been like to kind of watch what EJ has done this year?
Well, I've come to the conclusion EJ doesn't even have a heartbeat. I think
he's a cyborg,
he's actually
right?
like a robot.
He's a cyborg.
I think he's a robot.
He's a smaller version of the Terminator.
He's this 5'8", 5'9" robot that's no more than 140 pounds that was just sent down from Planet Bowling World, whoever knows where it's from. And they just magically wanted this kid to appear and go, you know what, we're just going to make this kid one of the best all-time ever. And, he's just, I'm pretty sure EJ's just over 30 years old. So, I witnessed it firsthand at the World Series. I've watched EJ numerous times, but witnessing it when you see it in person in front of you, like within 10 feet of in front of you, it's something different.
Knowing how hard it is too.
Yeah, you know how hard it is being a pro.
It's just so hard. It's just so hard out here, and what they could do, not just EJ, but Simo and Belmo, that people always rip on two-handers. Well, they still have to throw the shots. You watch bowling out here, and regardless of how you throw it, guess what? You have to execute. And if you don't, then you're screwed.
Johnny, what have you noticed from Jakob's run this year?
Well, for me, it's not just this year. I mean, going back to, we've been friends for a little over a decade now, or at least since I moved to Vegas, and ran into him in a couple local tournaments out here. But Jakob's always been dominant at every level. This is nothing new. I mean, what did you win? 9 regionals in 1 year? I mean, what the fuck?
9 regionals in 1 year, and I broke another lefties record. So lefty to
lefty. Do you know how many caches I have in regionals? Less than 9. I have less caches that he has.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second.
You understand where I'm going with this. Either way, what I'm trying to say is, I think the same thing that's happening with EJ and the same thing that's happening with Simo is exactly what he's had all along. And he, meaning Jakob, is Anthony. Well, Anthony, I would put EJ in a little bit different realm than when I talk about this comparatively speaking, as opposed to Jakob and Simo. Jakob and Simo are used to feeling victory for pretty much their entire career at every level they've bowled on. EJ was the one that was a little suspect on television in the early going. He'd have some bad breaks on and off television, and not win nearly as much as he should have. We used to compare him to the great Marshall Holman, winning 22 titles but making television almost 200 times. So for me, watching guys like Jakob blossom and just continue to know that they're going to contribute the same things over the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, however many years that they bowl, it's just thrilling to watch. So I can't necessarily, I think that the success is just coming from maturity and the time that he's been out there. And
you're saying it's borderline predictable, basically, seeing how he's been such a winner the whole way, that why wouldn't he just take the next step and be better than most of the people, again, at this level?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, there's certain people that come to the plate in baseball, or there's in the bottom of the ninth, and you expect them to get a hit to give your team the lead. There's a guy you expect to take him down the field 97 yards with 2 minutes left on the clock in a football game. And they always have all these stats on Lane Talk and shit like that. I'm curious for the one stat that is, whenever Jakob has a bad block, how good is his next block? Because if he ever bowls poorly, his next block is not only good, it's astronomically better than everybody else in the field. And he does it so relaxingly. And it's so upsetting to somebody like me to watch, to know that I'll never be able to be that good. But in the same respect, it's awesome to call him a friend and be able to watch it live all the time. I think it's maturity. I could have just said that.
Yeah.
I think one of the comments that hit me during the World Series was second day of the Cheetah Championship. So the first day, I didn't bowl good, and the scoring pace was already through the absolute roof. And in the next 10 games, I just literally was in what they call on tour, they call it Jakob mode. They say whenever Jakob gets in Jakob mode, he is probably one of the scariest people to bowl. And I ended up just bowling, and I believe in the 10 games I averaged 257, and I ended up making the Cheetah show because of it. And Sam Ellie made a point to a couple of people in the stands saying whenever he gets in that mode, he is the scariest person to beat. He struck more than the average of the field, and this scoring pace, and he ended up making the show from how far down he was probably one of the best blocks he's ever seen. And I take moments like him like that, and I don't build an ego off of it. I cherish it because the fact that, like, Simonelli, when I first came out on tour, he was one of those guys I was watching. Like, I watched Parker Bone and Jason Couch growing up. Those were my idols. And not saying that, taking anything away from Simonelli, I was watching him when I first joined tour. So for me, hearing that compliment from someone that I watched to help study from the game, it's one of those moments that I absolutely cherish.
That's a really, that is a really, really cool thing. So
the announcers also made mention of that during the telecast, right? I mean, they didn't say Jakob mode, but now we got a new shirt we got to print up. So someone call the art department, and we got to put the Dougie gimmick on there.
I just kind of made that up, but I mean,
look, well, it's yours. You own it.
Hey, Jacob,
it's just one of those modes. I just made it up. I mean, it's just one of those phase. It's
you in the zone, man. I don't know what it is. You're in the zone. You're locked in. You're rinsing and repeating, and that's Jakob mode.
I have a question to follow up with this because for all bowlers, everybody has felt quote unquote their own Jakob mode at some point in their life. Like we've all had blocks or like consecutive league weeks for the average house bowler that go out and man, I've been averaging 235 or 240 for the last 4 weeks, this and that. Like, so we all know what it's like to experience our own version of Jakob mode. But I guess my question for you is, what is happening? Like, give us the ins and outs, the shit about you. Like, when I'm in Johnny mode, I don't even really know what's going on other than I got a song playing in my head, and I remember maybe like one thing in my push away, like make sure you're like push 2 inches left to center or right to center, like, and that's all I think about, and everything else is just completely blank. Like if I don't strike, I'm confused by it.
So you're running on instinct and not mechanics, basically.
Yeah,
at that point, you're locked in.
I want to know what one of the best bowlers on the planet thinks about, and what's happening in your brain in moments like that when you're averaging 260 and jumping up 75 spots in a block.
It's crazy that a lot of people I bring it up with is that whenever I just get in one of those modes, so the day before I'm like, I don't care about bowling, I don't give a shit, like freaking, I'm just like, I'm done, like I'm already checked out, but then I have to regroup the next morning, so I'm like, Jacob, this is day 1, you have to bowl 5 more days, are you really going to check out that fast? And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, you know what, dude? You're not just bowling for this one tournament. You're bowling for another 3 tournaments. So I woke up that morning, but at the same time, I wanted to put yesterday aside, and I just wanted to go and bowl, just be who I am. Like, obviously, people are known for me striking. The thing is that when I don't think about bowling, and I just go up and bowl, that's when I bowl the best. Like, I don't think about, like, I think about if I see my ball flat 7 or whatever, do this and that, I just immediately make the move. I don't even question it. I just immediately make my move, and I just go through it, and I just go up there and make the best shot I can. And when I start doing that, that's when people are like, okay, Jacob is bowling, and he gets in those modes, like, you just can't beat him. Because now he's not thinking about anything. He's just going up and bowling. When he knows his ball is striking, he doesn't think, and he just knows he's going to strike.
That's called having a quiet brain is what it is. And that's because when you have a quiet brain, your body's relaxed a little bit too. So your nerves ain't flying. You're not overthrowing. And again, you're getting back to rinsing and repeating. You're able to repeat better because you're not walking with a stick up your rump, because you're all tense. And it's the same thing on the putting green when you're putting for the Masters Championship. You know what I mean? Like, they got nerves of steel. You guys have nerves of steel. It's freaking amazing to watch.
Well, Jacob is so chill compared to everybody else. Like, he doesn't show emotions.
That's true, too. Like, he's kind of blank out there.
You won't see an outburst, which is cool. I mean, you're able to stay, you're able to stay out of your own head and just focus on what you have to do. Like, where did you get that from? Is it just something inherent in you?
I think it's because I realized how much of a little bit of a shit I was when I was a youth bowler. And I think that it's not that I was a bad kid, but at the same time, it's like, there's a lot of people that I grew up with in juniors that I'm good friends with now to this day, that I wasn't the most liked kid when I was bowling youth stuff. And I think it's because I got too much of an ego. I realized that, is this really how you want people to see you in the long run? Like, I think for me now is that I'm so appreciative with where I'm at with my bowling career, especially because I'm very fortunate to call myself a bowler. Even I'm to this day, just even be bowling the national tour. And like with moments like that, all these people that just come up and just want to take pictures, sign autographs, like people that like look up to me, this and that, like. I always want to give him grief and be like, hey, you don't want your kid throwing it like me. I just am fortunate the way I could throw it. But at the same time, it's like all these parents just back me up and be like, you know what, my son doesn't want to throw like you. He just loves the way you bowl and loves how talented and how passionate and how humble you are. And I think when I hear that multiple times in a row, I'm like, it's just who I am naturally. I think that I learned so much, and I just, like JP said earlier, it's just that the maturity level, I think for me, I'll even say has developed so much better just with what's happened in my life. So now just being out there and just being able to stay mature and not get overly scatterbrained and dramatic, I think is one thing that benefits me when I bowl.
And that's what I love most about you. And, to be that mature at your age, you're still relatively young. You're, 28?
I just turned 29 in April, so I'm in my last year of my 20s.
Well, happy belated birthday. But still...
Enjoy it, bro. The next 10 are going to fly by.
Yes.
Yes. You're telling me now.
Yeah.
And explain this thing on your head real quick to the fans, by the way.
Yeah,
let's let everybody know why this is so special tonight on Straight Up 5.
I don't want to give him too much of a heavy head. And he's not paying me, I promise you that.
He will be after
this. It's just my buddy, he can't, everybody that basically knows Dougie Vision now, I think it's I just decided to wear the hat for tonight, and I know my buddy Greg Thompson just chimed in, and Dougie and the bowling Greg in the Bolero series event, and Greg is one of my best friends from Arizona, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a text message later at some point saying that you betrayed me. But
that's fantastic.
Dougie, I just wanted to put on the hat, and Dougie, like I know Greg GT we call him, he would want to be out here for the shows in a heartbeat. Dougie came out for those shows these last couple of weeks, and I bowled a handful of his tournaments, so he's a good dude. He runs a bunch of good tournaments on the East Coast. I'm not trying to brag about him, but he knows
brag all you want, man. We love Dougie here.
That's way better than a roto grip thing on the chest, I think. That's all. This is what we get on Straight Up 5.
I'm wearing. There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
Plug away, man. This is your show tonight.
Man. You and Dino. I love you guys to death, but them jerseys got to go.
I think the reason why I got the camera angle set the way it is because I'm already know I'm going to get grief because of the
Because you want people to stay and watch, not leave.
Yeah, that's
what's going to happen next.
So if we lose viewers in the next, 10 seconds, I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Meanwhile, I'm a Met fan, and we have the easiest strength of schedule for the season, and we still stink. So I can't say anything. Jacob, let me ask you another bowling question because we talk about a lot of not crazy personal shit on here, but we get a little bit more personal, and we want to dig a little bit deeper than the shit that you talk about on interviews when you're on television. You had to know at some point in your bowling career that your game is unorthodox. But there's a lot of people with unorthodox games that work and have worked throughout the entire course of bowling history. I mean, one of the greatest bowlers ever, Walter Ray Williams Jr., I would never try and teach anybody to bowl like Walter Ray. But my question to you is when did you know, okay, I've got something that nobody else can see yet or they want to chirp about, but I can do something with my wrist at the bottom and I can get my ball to rotate differently than everybody else? Like how old were you when you knew you had something special with that wrist position at the bottom? Because Ocho and I talk about you a lot because Ocho is an actual doctor and we do talk about
mechanics a lot.
So I'm very curious when you knew, like, wow, am I really that much more on the inside of it than everybody else? And like, just tell me about it.
And were you coached on it, or did you come up with it yourself? I just had to piggyback
did
that.
People try and take you and say stop doing that and like all that other garbage and shit like that? I mean,
you know what's crazy is that like I just started bowling like that one day. I didn't feel any pain in my wrist or my thumb. I honestly didn't even know the way I didn't realize how far underneath the wrist I was until I was like 16, 17.
But you knew you could rev it by putting it there, right? Like, it wasn't like you just arbitrarily put your wrist in that position. You knew by being on the inside is how you get more on it, I'm assuming?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like, I really didn't even... I didn't even really know how I was really throwing it until I got to the age where I started studying more about bowling. Like, right around 16, 17 is where I started learning about more about bowling. And I didn't know all these patterns and shit until I was about 16, 17 years old. And when I started figuring out, like, how am I going to play these? How am I just going to bowl like this? How am I just going to enjoy the moment and just bowl? I didn't really know all that until I got older. Till I was like 17, 18, like when I was in my senior year of high school, you know, I started wanting to get into bowling more. And like I said, when I started getting more competitive was when I was in high school. And then when 17 and 18 hit, that's when I started bowling on patterns. I started bowling JBTs on the West Coast. JP knows who my coach is at Arizona, or when I went to Arizona State, I still talk to him every now and then. His name's Jordan Nasberg. He was just saying like you can do so much more than you can think of. I'm like, okay. And I'm just bowling. And I'm bowling all these tournaments, and if I bowl bad, I bowl bad. Like, I think this is where the maturity level started to hit in a little bit. It's like when I really realized how capable I was with how I could throw it, and learning so much more and learning all the logistics of bowling, basically.
Do you remember, like, when you first tried, like, what was in your head when you first said, I'm just going to try this shit out?
I hope
what's funny is that I threw like that one morning, and I'm like, wow, that struck. And it like got to the gutter, and it came back and struck. And I was like 14 when I was 13 when I tried it.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can struck.
That's cool.
And you know good ball rotation, obviously. So you said, okay, it wasn't like I just hit the putt. You saw it, it rotated, it drove. It was a heavy ball, basically.
Yeah, and then I did it again. I was like, wow, it struck again. So, and
you're onto something.
It strikes a lot. Yeah.
So I ended up bowling a summer league, and the first week of the summer league, my goal was to shoot 300 before I even graduated high school. I ended up bowling 300 before I even started high school.
Wow.
So that was
oh God.
the crazy stat of the day.
Ocho's still trying for his.
Me too.
I'm not in high school yet either.
40 years later, I'm still trying. Literally 40 years later, I'm trying. What age were you when you first got into bowling, and like, how did you get started? Did you have anybody else in your family that bowled? Was this something your parents put you in? Because that's what my parents did with me.
So I started bowling when I was 5 years old. I grew up in Las Vegas, so we had a lot of centers in Vegas that were connected to casinos. Right. So just any days, if I just asked my mom if I wanted to go bowling, they'd take me. I would say that I started at Gold Coast and Texas Station and Suncoast growing up. So I was basically like on the north side of Vegas, and just started going there all the time. every now and then, if I asked my dad if we could go bowling when I was with my grandma in Henderson, we go to Sunset Station, South Point, all that. So basically, I was around the whole perimeter of Las Vegas and bowling centers. I pretty much bowled in every center in Vegas at least once, and I just enjoyed it. Every time I was in a bowling center, I never threw a pissy fit. Like, my mom always said that I was smiling, like, no matter how shitty I bowled. So,
I don't think I've ever seen you throw a hissy fit. Ever.
Well, no, but it's funny. It sounds like it was it was originally your hobby, and then here you are, a professional at the top of your game, at the top of the entire profession.
Yeah, that was like I said. I was like, I got into high school. I was like, I enjoy this a lot more. Like, I enjoy it. I don't expect myself to get like really, really good. And then I saw myself bowling in high school a little bit later. I'm like, I enjoy a little bit more, and I feel confident in it. Like, let's just give it a go and see how it goes. And it was big in my high school because you lettered in sports. So it was big if you lettered in sports. So if I can manage the letter, I'm like, hey, all right, cool. I get a Letterman jacket.
You had to have to. I'm sorry, Johnny. You had to get a lot of shit from that release, right? I'm sure people ribbed you all the time about what the hell are you doing? Like, what the hell is your hand doing?
The non-bowlers had no clue what was going on. And then the bowlers were like, what in the world is this?
But they also see the results too. It's not like they say,
exactly.
You know, all right, the guy's averaging 235 in high school, but boy, what a dumb release. Like they're going to go, he's onto something there.
Yeah. Give me Mike Newman's backswing or Mike Lickstein's approach any day of the week, as long as I can have their release with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what the ball does is what matters, basically.
Exactly.
Congratulations to Keegan, by the way. Thank you, Keegan.
Yeah,
good job, buddy.
Dude, that's great.
Real quick, sorry, Jacob. We're going to get to questions for Jacob at the end of the show, so don't think I'm ignoring you guys. We're just going to...
I'm ignoring you guys.
Well, I mean, that happens anyway. Sorry, Jacob. You were going to say something?
Oh, no, it's funny that JP brought up Mike Lichting, because it's like, that's one of the guys I bowl nationals with. And,
nice.
You know, everybody's watching Step, Step, Palm Horse, and then you're watching Waddle, Waddle, Crank Smash, Throw the Shot. Then
that's a shirt.
It's got to be a really exciting, awesome show when you guys are bowling together.
We have to put that on a shirt. Are you kidding me? What is it? Yes. Waddle, Waddle,
Waddle, Waddle, Crank Smash. That was invented by J.R. Raymond. He was the one that said Waddle, Waddle, Crank Smash.
Oh my god,
dude, that is so cool. I grew up with Mike out of Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, so I mean, I've known him pretty much all my life. So that's a perfect description of and he didn't start out that way. Like, he changed for whatever reason, just like you did. And had more success, but that's hilarious.
Well, that's the reason, Rob. Not for whatever reason. Am I going to bowl better or not?
Shut up, Ocho.
My favorite thing about Litchie is that he has to make sure there's a Starbucks within, walking distance of anywhere that we are at, so in that way he can get his free Wi-Fi.
That's fantastic.
Let's go. Happy belated one-day birthday to Larry Lickstein.
Yes.
Happy belated, yes. Absolutely. Larry, is another father and son duo in the PBA Tour.
Yes.
Larry frequently tunes in. I'm not sure if he's here tonight, but I want to make sure we did that.
Roger says watching a man walk barefoot through broken glass. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
That's about right. And his release is just poetry in motion.
It is. So let me ask you this. Sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
You see me running to the line, and I'm trying to run away from the broken glass.
You got a flamethrower under your foot or something.
Yeah.
So this is kind of I don't want to say like a rhetorical question, but I mean, it's something that we can all speculate about. So if Belmo kind of revolutionized the game with his success and with two hands and getting a lot of kids into the sport using that, do you think when it's all said and done, we're going to have kids try to emulate your style, or do you think it's impossible for them to figure out? Because I'm sure you're not going to give it away.
Well, I've already had one request in the past that I actually had a kid try to emulate the way I throw it, and the mom messaged me afterwards saying that her son's wrist was broken.
God.
I think.
So I was actually going to go ahead, Jacob.
Exactly.
You want to know who gets the imbecile of the week? That kid's mother.
Yeah.
Call out Jacob.
No, because what they don't understand is
mimic. Yeah, fucking.
It's not a matter. It's a matter of hypermobility, and not everybody
Jacob,
has it. Everybody has two hands.
We know you're nice. We don't have to be.
Yeah, no, that's our job.
Yeah,
you give us
job.
you throw us the softball. We're gonna hit them out.
Yeah, she's an asshole.
The issue when people all have two hands, so everybody can throw the ball two-handed if they like. Not everybody has a hypermobile wrist with ligaments that stretch like Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah,
and anybody who says double jointed, there are no freaking double joints in the human frame since the billions of years of humans existence standing up. They're not double. There's no such thing, people. It's freaking hypermobility, maybe ligament laxity or stretching.
I heard the slang term is double jointed is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Whoever came up with it should be set to a work camp for with sticky recycling bottles.
I'm just happy that she didn't send me the medical bill. That's all I was like. That's all I was happy about.
She probably don't have insurance either. The rotten mom.
Jacob, I've got a question for you because, I mean, I hate to say it, but obviously not just your favorite ball, most likely, but a lot of people love the Purple Hammer. Obviously, it's a miracle ball, especially with what you guys are bowling on out there and what you do to a ball. Do you have a favorite bowling ball, like before the Purple Hammer was even invented, like the New Age one? I don't even remember what company you were with at that time. But anyway, well, I guess my question is before the invention of the New Age Purple Hammer from either Ebonite's plant or the Brands of Brunswick plant, did you have another like go-to baby that you kind of brought everywhere with you? And then when that ball showed up, it was just
there is a mixture of a lot of things. Obviously, like every tournament that I go to, everybody thinks I have 27 Purple Hammers with me, but I think
Packy does.
Obviously, I just have like it's one of those balls, and then I mean, JP's watched me enough to where it's like all the high end, like big solid bowling balls over the course I've thrown over my career have been the second go-tos, and I mean, it's been a mixture of a lot of things. I was with 900 Global before I ended up going to Ebonite International at the time, and now they merged through the factory with Brunswick, and now it's all Brunswick. But honestly, it's like I always tell people, obviously I'm going to throw the Purple Hammer as long as I need to if I'm striking, because our job out here is to strike. It's not to just sit there and split every single shot. Your goal is to make a paycheck.
That's right.
Even if you get paid by your company, you're still out there to strike with like whatever equipment you need to throw. So if I need to throw a Purple Hammer, and if I know it's going to give me that 240, 250 for the win, I'm going to throw it.
Oh, damn right.
I was just curious. You did switch just against O'Neill, right?
Yeah, so
you're throwing a mindset on the left lane for.
I love the mindset. God, that ball is so good.
Mindsets. This is a shout out for my Dino. I'm gonna throw the mindset on the longer pattern. So he suggested it when we were bowling, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it my risk, and I did it. Unfortunately, it didn't look good when I bowled Kevin McEwen in the title match on the Players, but you know, it was a ball that helped me a lot this week, this past week at the Players Championship.
Okay.
You got out of it early against O'Neill, right? Like you went right to the mindset like right away. How come you didn't do that in the finals? Just curious.
So I actually tried to do a mixture of a lot of things. I think so when I bowled Kevin Williams in the first match, he was throwing urethane on the left lane, and it allowed me to throw reactive kind of where I was at for the most part. When I bowled Bill, I feel like I had to create a little bit more carry down just to kind of give me an idea and try to go from there. But I feel like Sunday they were definitely, even on the right lane, they just felt like they were hooking a lot sooner than they were the day before. Okay. And I ended up having to go to a troublemaker the last game on the right lane that I bowled, and it was a ball I didn't throw all week on the left lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched you all throughout the entire tournament, all through qualifying. I never saw that ball go down the lane.
Yeah,
I was not this week.
I was chatting with ball rep Dino Casillo, and I was throwing balls that I didn't expect to throw in the title match or at any point.
Yeah. And they all still finished high though, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It looked like they were starting the second they hit the lane, and they were already in their hook phase almost or something.
just a matter of like how the lanes get oiled. It could be the weather outside, the TV lights. They play so many different factors into how the lanes are going to play.
I was wondering, like, how was it? Like, the difference was so significant between the past rounds. Like, I don't know how it got so far out of whack for you, because you were pretty lined up.
Yeah, it's like a lot of different factors go into it. I think I didn't do anything crazy with surfaces. Maybe that, like, I was throwing a couple shots a little bit way too much further left to start. And then by the time they got to that point, it was just hooking so much more. But the lanes just kind of were a little bit funky. Even Kevin McKeon I was talking to in the title match, he even said that the lanes were definitely hooking a lot sooner, even on his side of the lane too. But Kevin can overpower his look with ball speed.
It's ridiculous.
And just like his dad.
Yep, damn right.
To me, honestly, like, he had the perfect condition for that time and the perfect style. Like, if he didn't throw it as hard as he did, I really don't think he'd have the same success. That's just what I noticed from watching him. I mean, it's amazing what he did. I'm not taking anything away from it at all, but he needed that power to get down the lane that fast. Especially,
and even he dove high a handful of times too. There wasn't anybody hitting light, that's for sure.
And he was throwing different speeds on each lane too.
Yep. He was piping it straight up 5, I think, on the old smaller pattern there with the hammer.
Yeah. He is a McEwen though, so we're officially having a new nickname for him on tour. So his dad was the Rocket. I think we're gonna call Kevin the Nuke. So
I love it. Yeah, they did. They called him that on the telecast.
Is that supposed to be from Bull Durham?
I have no idea. No idea. Probably
Even
not.
if it was, do you think he would know?
And you're
Jacob.
I don't think he was born
yet.
yet.
Be 40. I'm not 30.
His dad.
Or in my last year of my 20s.
It's bad parenting if his dad didn't.
It's certainly not. Jacob,
his dad probably taught him everything. So,
Jacob, I have a random question for myself. Did you ever try a fingertip grip?
Wait. He doesn't have a fingertip grip?
Oh, wait, you don't?
This just in.
Wait, full?
I go conventional.
How have I not known that?
I've never seen your wrist, actually, because it's underneath the ball so far. The freaking, I don't even... Wait a second.
I've never looked at your fingers. That's just... Wow.
Does your wrist turn completely in a circle
fingers.
like the
There you go.
Exorcist?
Well, thanks.
No, I want to see you spin it all the way around like a Muppet, because there's no way that can be in the... Oh, my God.
I didn't notice that. Wow, you do all that without your fingertips.
That should be...
Dude, that's...
We got to have his wrist like some... Remember Mythbusters or something? We got to have like one of these slow roll motion things and watch how... under a video fluoroscopy to see the x-ray and the bones maneuvering. Oh, my God.
We're going to do science experiments on your wrist
mechanically
when you pass
baffling
away.
me, that's all.
Yeah.
So what was your answer?
Yeah, that's right. I jumped in.
Fingertip.
Sorry, Johnny. Or whatever your name is.
No, keep going. But I'm curious, though. I want to make sure we don't lose the
who knew?
What was the question? Anyway, I forgot what the question was.
Did you ever try fingertip?
Oh, there you go.
Have you always been conventional?
I did once when I was like 14, but my knuckle, my calluses got so fat that I just couldn't even put my fingers in the bowling ball.
There you go. That's fantastic. So,
I mean,
that blows me away.
Conventional, but I'm thumb out. I mean, when my thumb was in the ball, I would like to dig probably like as low as Sean Rash used to dig, like between the two cuts of the knuckles. And but I'm virtually conventional when I have my thumb out of the ball. But I can't imagine. God, I guess it's fit. Every human dynamic is different in every single person, right? I mean, I could never. People always say you got to have a full fingertip grip for maximum leverage and power and yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, I was always the other way. I always wanted more fingers in the ball because I felt like I could uncoil more when I had more fingers in the ball. But
you know what's funny is that, like, so you guys know Chris Warren, right? Chris Warren, that bull on the PBA Tour.
Squeaks.
He's conventional grip, too.
Yeah. He has been for what now? A long time.
Yeah, and you see the way he bowls, and it's like, the guy that's like 5'5" and he's 120 pounds, and he can still generate as much power as he can with everything that he does. That's
true.
That's what's something impressive.
How do you clear your fingers is what I'm wondering, though. Like, that's the part that kind of is bugging me, because, like,
you really have to like uncoil. You'd have to.
Oh, you have to yo-yo it almost like.
Yeah. If you don't, you're more likely to flip your hand over the top of the ball.
Suitcase or something, or flying saucer it or something.
It's a matter of how consistent you could come out of a bowling ball. I think it's just I started bowling like that when I started bowling like that one day. I think that I learned it at such a young age. I was just learned to be able to repeat it consistently.
Yeah, that's what's remarkable to me is like, this doesn't happen very often with my no thumb delivery, but when it does, it's very obvious. Like there's some times that my hand will open too much in the backswing and I will completely miss it at the bottom. Like, when you rotate a ball, you lose a ball and you're like automatically off your hand, it's a washout, or you're praying to God that it even stays on the lane because you missed it that bad. That happens to me sometimes, and I'm like shocked and amazed at how you can get your hand into an even deeper position with a conventional grip, and you seemingly never, ever, ever miss it at the bottom. And if you do, it's like 1 out of 200 shots. That's what I think is so exceptional and special about your game.
I think it's crazy because there's only been, I don't know if it's just because of a tour bowler standpoint too, but there's only probably been maybe 20 shots in my career where I'm like, how did that ball not hook?
Wow.
Like, yeah, like legitimately because it's just like I'm hitting it as hard as I can. Even if it's like a flat 7, I know it hooked. But if I 379 or if I wash out, I'm like, how on earth did that not hook?
Right.
Well, what's your to bounce off of that? Obviously, you're able to repeat well. What's your practice schedule like? I mean, do you throw the ball 100 times? Do you bowl 10 games? Do you bowl 20 games? I mean, I know practicing. I don't think is for score really. It's for mechanics and repeating. And if you throw how many? So what's your routine like? I don't want to say off season because I know you guys bowl all year round. So.
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. So when we bowl on tour, we go center week in, week out to a different center.
You're 40-something games a week too. So
I think my first thing that I try to focus on when I get there, because you guys see how much I slide. I slide before I even release the bowling ball. So I think my biggest thing is that I try to practice to get a feel for the lanes. That is the first thing that when I get to a new center to try to get a feel with how the week's going to be. Like, I practiced a little extra at Carolier this past week. Well, Valero, North Brunswick, but we still call it Carolier.
As always, it should be.
Damn right.
I practiced there for a handful of, for a good majority of times. I know that the approaches were known for being sticky. For me, I'd rather slide than stick any day of the week. So I was practicing exceptionally, just trying to make sure that I'm not overdoing it as well. That's the one thing that I try to focus on. And then obviously, for me, obviously shooting spares is one of the biggest things as well. Make sure I can make sure I can make my spares, man, because those 7 pins can be tricky. Those 9 splits can be tricky.
Yeah.
I noticed this long before they mentioned it on the recent show, and I'm sure a bunch of our spectators did too. You stopped throwing it straight at 7 pins, switch to a spy, and throwing it like a strike ball now.
Okay, so I got a task for all 3 of you. So my show before I bowled Kevin Williams, go back and look at how many, I'll even bring it up right now. Go back and look at how many single pins I missed this week. I was 55 for 61, I believe it is. Those 6 single pins I missed in one block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I missed them all shooting straight. So the next block, I literally went in and said, I'm just going to hook in my 7 pins again. Because I'm never missing 6, 7 pins in one block ever again.
That move right there is as gutsy as any other move that you could possibly think of.
Oh, hell yeah.
To have that in your brain, to go out there and say, I've shot 7 pins like this for the last, 20 fucking years.
Just got to ride the gutter.
Yeah.
And while I'm averaging 260, I want to make sure I don't miss 6, so I'm just going to start hooking it in my 7 pins.
Because they had mentioned how Norm Duke They had mentioned how Norm Duke would switch balls, but he was, completely open, wrist collapsed, and thumb out at the pin, and it had this whoop, 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 thumb hole rotation. Yeah. Whereas you're popping it.
Yeah, that was cool for me to to watch, to see. I thought that was really, really.
That's a ballsy move, Jacob. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. Hey, you guys have more confidence than I did. That's for sure.
Well, I ain't
proving my
doing
point
it. You
even
did
more.
it. You made it. You made them too.
But I mean, the best in the world are able to adapt and do whatever it takes to get it done. I mean, that's why you're on the level that you're on. Like, you have something different than, 100 other bowlers they're on the tour. Like, it's just, that's what makes you so good. You're able to figure it out. On
100 other bowlers plus thousands of regional guys that are just a tier under that are still that. I mean, that's the separation is so wild to me. How the cream just always rises to the top. The average people think there's 10 bowlers on tour. I bet.
Well, that's all you usually see on TV. That's how good they are.
We talked about that on a show, and we talked about the difference between the good players and the great players, and the great players to the elite players. And Jacob is in the group with the elite players, and it's so dead. That's why we have to ask him all these. Sorry, I'm talking like you're not sitting right here, but we have to ask all these questions because we have to get the mentality of what the top 1% of the sport is thinking and going through mentally and physically every single week.
And he's gushing over EJ when this guy is at the same level.
And we're all fangirls for you anyway, Jacob.
We're totally.
This is a story that me and JP are going to enjoy a drink over when I go back to Vegas for a little bit. So
perfect.
Let's get to some of our viewer questions because they've been waiting so patiently. All the way from Australia, Keegan Tasker wants to know. Wait, where'd it go? Everybody stop talking. Stop talking.
Come on.
What's your experience like on timber lanes? I'm assuming that's wood lanes?
Are you talking about timber lanes?
Yeah.
The boots?
You got to whack wood lanes. You got to bowl fantastic on wood.
I love wood lanes because I can throw plastic up the gutter.
Exactly. That was exactly what I was just going to say.
What is it? Is the shot hold better or something, or like you don't have to play a track?
Wood lanes are just old. They're beat up. Yep. I mean, in a good way beat up. Like, I mean, they just hook in general a lot more. They hook a lot sooner. So the best way to kind of get any look is throw weaker equipment that isn't going to overhook.
Damn right.
Those plastic at the pocket, but a strike ball at a 7-pin on tour. Oh, ain't that something?
He can do it all. Roger Meany wants to know what was up with the multiple fouls on the Cheetah Show. Bad approach or bad footwork?
And he just talked about his slide,
Roger, too. I wore new shoes on that show, in case everybody is curious about. And they were a half size bigger. I know that's no excuse, but they were a half size bigger. And my rookie mistake, I bowled my best block ever to get into that show, and I made a rookie mistake wearing new shoes.
It was confusing. I'm not gonna lie, it confused the fuck out of me. The timing of it. But here is. I'm going to ask you this the right way. I went to Reno with my team like I do every year, and I've been wearing one black shoe and one white shoe for about the last 8 years. I refuse to take my white Brunswick TPUX off of my slide foot. In Reno, they started to get holes through them. Like they were getting like holes through the bottom of the shoe into the insole. I could not wear that. I had to change into my other Hammer Force black shoe for the first time since those white TPUs came out. I think I was rooming with Simonelli. So this is like 2014.
His name's Jesus?
Jesus Simonelli.
Wearing those shoes. So I understand that desperate times, desperate measures type shit, but why did you change your shoes the day before bowling on television? After you just
because I'm having the same issues you are.
Is that why?
I still have holes in the bottom of my shoes right now. So
we're going socks on approaches right now.
Yeah, it's really could have been the only conceivable reason why. I don't think you, unless listen, new contracts coming out. Maybe in the contracts it says effective this date, you can't wear this no matter who you are, even if you are bowling for a major. Or
if they had a contract, they should have the right size then too, don't they? I mean,
well, that was on my bad though.
Oh,
all right. So that's a question. I'm assuming everybody had a question too. So there's the
I
answer.
didn't know to own sides of my own shoes. So,
you actually went. Oh, you were like, I think I'm a 10.5.
Yeah.
And they were like, turns out you're a 7. I mean, I'm exaggerating, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You're getting into ball breaking territory because now we could have said you don't know your shoe size, and then we could have said, well, didn't they feel big when you tried them on? Like,
I'm not a jerk.
Yeah, you are.
No, that's why I said we're not going to do it to him. We're going to let him go.
Dick,
we're going to let him go today.
Why didn't you get 2 pairs of socks then? Damn it!
Keegan Tasker wants to know, Jacob, do you remember what your first ball was?
That's a good one.
Oh man, that's a lot of thinking.
Can you also maybe?
I know it was
300 ball.
I know it was before high school.
My first ever 300 bowling ball was a BVP gargoyle.
Nice.
If that helps.
Nice.
A BVP gargoyle.
Yeah, if you look it up, I think that's
Visionary
what
bowling. Do you mean visionary gargoyle?
Yeah, visionary gargoyle.
What color? Which color was it?
It was the green one.
Oh wow, that ball was sick. I love the granite one, that gray one. That ball looked like a goddamn rock.
Johnny is a bowling ball savant.
Yeah, I just go by his
what
face.
happened was he said BVP, so there was a time period where Brunswick had a line called the Brunswick Valued Performance Products, and that was balls like the Goliath, that was balls like the Rampage,
right?
But Visionary Bowling Products was VBP. So when he said BVP, I'm automatically thinking Brunswick, and he's talking about the Rampage, and he's talking about the Goliath and the Nemesis and all this other shit. And then I'm like, wait a minute, no, because I tried a couple Visionary Bowling products too. I had that pink fucking gargoyle. Remember that ball? And God, there was one more. I had what I think it was called a Sorcerer.
Yeah, Sherry said the green one was the OG gargoyle.
Hell yeah, hi Sherry.
She knows a lot too.
Yeah. Hey, I got to tell you, Rob, real quick, and to our viewers and to Jacob, I am at work today. I actually took my hour lunch break to be here with you because I traded off to spend Mother's Day with my girlfriend and the family.
Oh,
so I do have to. I can stay till about 10 after 6, but after that, if you guys are still here, great. But as always, it's a pleasure. And if I don't get a chance when I do leave, Jacob, thank you so much for hanging and being here with us tonight, and to all of our viewers.
JP, thank you.
So I have some random, actually, Ocho, you have random questions that we were chatting about in our little group chat before. Do you want to rapid fire some of those?
I don't know. I just wrote some examples because, but mine were going to be over the top.
Yours are good, though. No, they're good.
Go ahead, Rob. You get in there. You get in there, and I'll piggyback you.
Jacob, favorite food?
Oh, where do I start? I'm fat.
Yeah, me too. I hear you.
Any seafood, Mexican or Asian, like literally. If it's Mexican, it's a quesadilla. If it's anything Italian, it's ravioli. Anything seafood has to have any kind of fish.
When you're on tour, do you look for these, obviously, right? You're like, okay, where's the Mexican joint or something? Or
fuck yeah, I do whenever I go to a new city. Hell yeah.
I'm one of those guys that I'm not going to look for like a Chick-fil-A, a Chili's. Like I'm looking for something a hole in the wall whenever I go to stop.
I love it.
Mom and pop sushi.
He's a foodie, dude. I love it, dude.
Mom and pop sushi. I've never looked for that.
I think you're my spirit animal. That's fantastic. Favorite fast food?
Oh Jesus!
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, nice. That's my wife's jam. She's hardcore Taco Bell.
Rob loves talking about fast food.
I love talking about food in general.
He loves talking about slow food, fast food, intermediate
any kind of
food.
Right. Let's see. Favorite thing to do when you're not bowling?
Ooh.
Depends on the stop, but I love going to like sports games if they're at home during tour stops.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Oh, just you want to be at the home stadium for what, the ambiance or something like that?
Yeah, just to enjoy the stadium. I want to check them off.
Well, that's cool. Well, so what are some of the coolest places you've been, like stadiums, arenas that you can think of?
I haven't been to much, but we went to at the U.S. Open this past year. We went to the Pacers game out in Indianapolis. That was pretty cool. That was just during the season, though. Like, I mean, just in general, I live in Arizona. Chase Fields, even though the Diamondbacks can't beat the Dodgers any time of the year, they have a nice stadium.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they got one of the most beautiful stadiums out there.
Did you know they have the pool there or something?
They do.
I said that if the Diamondbacks won the World Series at home, I was going to jump in the pool.
Yeah, I don't think
you missed the 2001 World Series.
I was going to say, yeah. I don't even know if you were born when they won.
I was barely alive. I was in grade school.
I remember,
like, you think you'd even recognize your Diamondbacks back then with those uniforms compared to now?
They're horrible.
I think they recognize it because I think they recognize it because they hit the game winner off one of the best relievers ever.
The best reliever.
Yeah. But if the infield wasn't in, Cheater would
have been
right
Luis Gonzalez? Is that
it was
Gonzalez?
Little blooper right over the head.
He was fucking roided out.
You could see his friggin' arms when he raises his hands. Holy Jesus!
Yeah.
It was like excuse me swing, right? It was just a little blooper right over.
It was a cutter. He didn't get it because it was a cutter bearing in. He's a lefty. Not that I saw the game 1 million times or anything, and it's etched in my memory.
Yeah,
I know that like he knows bowling balls.
That's fantastic. Tammy Pissarro wants to know. Asking a question for my son as he is sitting with me. We met you at the Pro-Am. He wants to know how many 300 games you have. And I would like to say congratulations. I know you came in second, and I saw your post congratulating Kevin on his win. You're a class act and a great role model for kids to see that kind of sportsmanship.
Thank you. I said it to someone the other day. I'm at 134 300 games in my life.
Wow.
On the PBA tour?
Or just total?
Just total. National tour, I believe I'm at 23.
That's it, Johnny. How many do you have? Like 400?
Well, when you
whoa, hang on a second here. I very, very much expected the number to be well over 200.
Okay.
Can you blame me?
I'm just busting your balls.
No, I'm serious though. I can't believe
JP probably has more 300s. You probably have more 300s with plastic than I do regular. So,
but you have 9 tour titles. So
you have talent though that I don't.
Oh come on, Johnny.
So there's a big difference there. But
we're all yours red wiffle bats or what?
That number surprised me very much. It surprises me that he's got 23 PBA 300s, but he only has 130 300 games.
He's always bowling on the PBA tour.
I thought
you'd be surprised at the 800 list.
But here's the other thing though. It does make sense before you say that because you've been on tour for how many years?
That's what I just said. He's always bowling on tour.
Yeah,
it's
he's
always
not
tough
bowling.
conditions.
He's not bowling league now. If he bowled
That's a good
league
point.
for the last 10 years and he bowled twice a week, then yeah, I think maybe he would have like 700.
He'd have 40 in a freaking league season on the big red wiffle bat pattern.
Yeah, okay, now it makes more sense. I answered my own question.
All right, now we're just piling on. Everybody says you should have more. Just don't make him feel bad, Johnny. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, leave the guy alone, man. He's wearing an awesome freaking do-rag on. We got sponsors now. We got T-shirts getting made already. I already called the art department. Waddle, smash, Hulk, all that stuff. We got it.
Yeah, I better get the first copy of that.
You love
do a memoir.
You love his? Mine?
Are you wearing? Yeah, it looks like a SpongeBob shirt. Is that Patrick?
What's
that? Good job.
Of course it is.
Those look like the socks I wore on this TV show.
And that we can see through your holes in your shoes. Just kidding.
Oh, that's horrible. So if you
different type of podcast, sorry.
If you would have won the players, you already would have been eligible for the PBA Hall of Fame. Like I know you kind of said, growing up as a kid and going now, you're like, I can't believe I'm on a tour. Like, did you ever think as a kid bowling, like, you'd be eligible for Hall of Fame? Or even bowling on the tour to begin with, but like at 29 years old, you could already be you're already pretty much a shoo-in anyway.
The way he's talking now, it already seems like it doesn't seem real to him. And I'm not.
That's what I'm kind of saying. Like, are you still?
He's so docile, humble,
right?
Normal, I guess I'd say.
Can you wrap your head around it? Is pretty much what I'm asking.
If you had told me I was bowling on the lanes currently right now with EJ, Simo, Bilmo, all those guys right now as we speak, I would have called you a lunatic. Like that's
and winning a lot of times. What do you mean just bowling them? You're beating them.
Sick.
I promise this isn't an act either. Like I always tell people,
it's not. That's why we have you on. We like having people on this show that we know are real, and our listeners on this show like people that are real.
Except for
Ocho.
Ocho.
This is the kind of shit that we and our listeners want to fucking hear, dude. So we 100% know that you're that kind of person. It's you're the kind of person that sits back and says, Jesus, I used to envy Parker Bone and Jason Couch, and now those guys are looking at me and asking, how many pins ahead of us is he this week? Like they're talking about you like, fuck, Butters is bowling. That's guaranteed second place finish for me at best. That's the kind of shit that your idols are saying about you now, which is, that's something.
Now we should let him answer, I guess, the question. So, is it surreal?
Oh, there's a question.
We just overpowered the guy. We suck. Oh,
we suck. Man. We suck.
Yeah,
we're new too. We're new at this.
I'm new at this too. No, what's funny is that I'm sitting in the. I'm currently sitting in the room of the infamous guy that probably has more 300s and 800s than anybody on the planet. I'm sitting in the room of Andy Nair.
Oh, no shit.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in the I'm sure a lot of East Coasters if you don't know Andy Nair on the East Coast, then you don't know bowling, basically.
That's damn right.
Yeah,
Andy Nair from Milton, Pennsylvania, back in my old childhood days. I don't even know if he still lives in Milton, Pennsylvania.
I'm currently in his house right now as we speak.
Let's go. Tell son Andy.
Is it still in Milton? I mean, we don't want to give away your.
It is Milton. I could go and drag Anthony if you want in a minute.
Oh, should we get a little cameo from the Ginger Assassin himself?
If he's still here, I could go check for you guys really quick before you leave.
Yeah, do that.
If you want to, go right ahead. And you guys, as long as you know, I only got 9 minutes.
We got the time.
Let's go see if he's still here.
All right.
We got the time.
What a pleasure to have him on as a guest today. This has been
he's fantastic.
This is wild.
Yeah, I mean,
we're the idiots. He's the normal
think
one.
Think about it, dude. This is not like I'm going to go back to my reference from last week. This is not a mediocre player. This is somebody who is the best out there,
setting records and whatnot. He bolted.
Looks like we have a rain delay for Anthony. So,
That's fair.
Yes, I am in the home of Andy Nair, and obviously Anthony. Alexis is out in the Queens right now, out in Las Vegas. So
yes, she's at Sam's Town.
The whole Nair family is basically like Brandon Runk, which is Alexis' husband. Like the whole family treats me well while I'm out here in Pennsylvania.
Had a surprise visit from Brandon Runk at my league last night.
That's cool.
Yeah. Brandon Runk stopped by with Brianna Clemmer and said hi for a game. So that was cool to see them. Saw Daria downstairs playing a slot machine before league. Ran into Carson Lukosius. I think I saw Amber McLeod. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was nice to see and not see a bunch. Anyway,
there's a lot of big names
out there
in Vegas.
See there? Is that what's
going on?
This
is out here, Oach. The Queens.
No, I'm talking about where he's at. He's out in Milton, Pennsylvania.
I've been staying with so in the off season, whenever we don't have a tour stop, I've actually been staying with the Nairs because with the airfare prices that make you want to recheck your bank account.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, they unfortunately allow it to where it's too expensive to go back home. So I'm staying out here in Pennsylvania with Anthony and Andy before I go out to the Super Slam this weekend.
Where is the Super Slam,
That's right.
Super Slam is in Florida this weekend, out in Jupiter.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think that's where it is every year, isn't it, Johnny?
To my knowledge, yes.
They host a stop every year in Jupiter, and the Super Slam is hosting it this year.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. Are you looking forward to that? I'm sure. And I know it's a unique thing they've done the last few years, but it's kind of a little fun gig. I know. It doesn't count towards tour titles, right?
It doesn't, but it's special to be a part of it, especially since I was fortunate enough to get into the event because everybody ahead of me in the show was a major winner. So that's one of the reasons why I was able to get in there. But at the same time, it's a time to go out there, enjoy bowling, enjoy food, and enjoy the beach.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Johnny, you were talking about that, like with the recent successes of everybody, like who's not going to get into the Super Slam? Or, I forgot how you phrased it last week, but it's something you brought up.
What we were talking about, Jacob, was we were saying that because EJ had won 2 majors and Simo had won a major, we were trying to figure out if, since you were already in from your second place finish, if Simo or EJ or you would have won the Players' Championship, who would have been the other person?
So
Superfield.
Let's date back to the World Championship. So the reason why I finished 4th at the World Championship, but I was behind EJ, Simo, and Belmo. So I was automatically in the Super Slam. So the way the scenario worked out was at the Players' Championship, when I got to the Final Four, basically it was going to be a toss-up between Kevin McEwen and Bill O'Neill. Well, Kevin beat Anthony, and I ended up beating Bill. So because of that, the only way it would have worked out that Kevin would have made it is if Bill didn't get in the top. Well, Bill, if he would have won, if the time match was Kevin and Bill, it would have been whoever won the match would have gotten in. Well, because I beat Bill, no matter what, Kevin's in no matter what.
Oh, so yeah, this is like a playoff
Right.
seeding almost. That like
So-
you got to
Yeah.
figure out who's strike the schedule.
But
and everything.
my question is,
gotcha.
if you win the Players Championship,
It still would have been Kevin, right?
It still would have been Kevin.
It would have been Kevin.
Yeah.
That
because
So-
Kevin
because
was
he-
the highest remaining seed because I'm already in.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
okay.
That makes sense. So, what are you looking forward to for the end of the year? I mean, obviously you're going to the PBA playoffs right at the end of the year. Are you looking forward to that?
So I'm looking forward. Yeah. So when I realized that I ended up making the Super Slam, I realized I'm already in every single summer event now. At that point, I'm in the tour finals. I'm in the PBA league. I'm in the Super Slam. So just more TV time. There you go.
That's true. I mean, that's more TV time is always good.
Absolutely.
What have you found? Working with Fox, because I know the commentators do a lot of prep before the show, and I've seen on Belmo's YouTube channel of him sitting down with Rob Stone and Randy. Did you do that this past weekend?
So like we were chatting before we went on TV sets. Like I would chat just to make sure I was ready to go. Like on the top of the hour interviews, make sure I was good to go before, like when they were asking questions, making sure that I was prepped for everything. So that you're not just trying to answer your questions right then and there.
That makes sense. I mean, look, they do a lot of work, and we typically we've given Fox a lot of crap on this show for how they produce the show sometimes.
Part of it but part of it was when it's only a certain couple of commentators too. When they do stand up jobs when there's certain people and some just don't seem to have as much. It seems like it's a running gag at times when there's important shit going on. But whatever brings eyeballs to it, if somebody jumps in, I'm all for it. How does Kimberly Pressler look?
Is this where I pull a Simo no comment?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
That's fine.
I realize when you say it now that we already know what your answer is.
Yeah.
so
There you go.
that's it.
That was it.
I think Kimberly she's an amazing person. The way she comes up before every show, like asking questions to make sure that the interviews are good to go every single show, and she's really good at her job. I'm sure she's probably gotten a lot of grief in the past, but she's very good at her job. She's very intelligent with how she's prepping her questions and how the answers are coming out, and you can't blame it when
That's good.
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm all for that.
Well, Johnny's got to go, so and we suck, so we're not going to carry the show without him because it's his show. Nobody wants to hear us. But Jacob, we certainly appreciate you being on here, man. Best of luck in the Super Slam and the playoffs and playoffs and the league this year.
Playoffs.
What's your Twitter handle and all that fun stuff? Let's get some plugs in here before we sign off.
So on Twitter, it's J Butturff, the capital JB, and then everything else is lowercase. Hopefully, you know how to spell my last name.
It took me a while to get used to, but I'm on it now.
And then it's just Jakob Butturff 300 on Instagram. You can't miss my bowling pictures, and then you got my athlete page on Facebook. So
I know this is a super obvious question, but kids had to give you shit in school for your name, right? Because kids are assholes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a bunch of kids that didn't even know how to pronounce my last name, so they come up to me and try to pronounce it for me, and I was like, "No, you're wrong." And they go, "No, I'm right."
Yeah, right.
I was like,
I don't know how to pronounce my last name. Yeah, that makes sense. You freaking.
Well, you could probably talk to my dad, but you're lucky that I can't tell you the answer I want to right now. Otherwise, I get suspended.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's about the meanest Jacob will ever get.
I love it.
Just right there.
That's fantastic.
Nobody likes Mean Jacob. Trust me. Couple of people have seen Mean Jacob. So
that's fair.
Let's call him J-Bone. Let's get Mean J. We'll call Mean Jacob J-Bone.
Stephanie, I saw your comment. Tell Amber that I'm really sorry I didn't say hi. I wasn't 100%. It was her. Anyway, that's my send off at JPJR07. But seriously, in closing, guys, I'm sorry that I do have to ditch out a little bit early tonight. But Jacob, it's been a pleasure having you here, and please come back and join us again in the future. Come back, and maybe after you win Player of the Year next year, we'll talk about another entirely awesome good season. But
absolutely, GP, love you, buddy.
And new shirts.
And
Love the hat
Rob,
too, man.
I'll let you take it away and then finish everything up. But I got to go and get clocked in. So Thanks to all of our viewers for being here. I love you guys, and I'll see you later.
See you, JP.
See you, Johnny.
Love you, JP.
All right, Johnny's gone. We can talk shit about him now. No, seriously, no, Jacob, thank you for being here, man. I know you guys have busy schedules and you got a lot coming up, but and you know, you are, without blowing smoke up your ass, you're one of the top bowlers in the world. And
we've been blowing smoke up his ass for the last hour.
Wasn't that intentional? Wasn't that intentional?
No, but it's justified. Like, I mean, we're not blowing
It's
smoke.
nothing I'm already not used to, so.
We're literally telling him the truth. This is the truth show.
That's fair. We're just a shitty fan podcast, but you're a real big get, so we appreciate you being here.
I love you guys for who you guys are right now. Trust me. I'm like, when I say I'm humble, I'm not just humble for the good crowd. I'm humble for the bad crowd as well. So that's the best way I look at it.
That's fair. And Ocho still has the biggest guns in the world. So
that's not true, but I'm in second.
Everybody here in the chat, thank you guys for showing up here tonight and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightUp5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.